Hello, good afternoon, everyone. We are back. We are live with Super Working Mom Convos. So exciting to be back. Happy New Year, if we haven't spoken. I'll just check quickly that we are live on Facebook. Let me do that on my phone. Actually, I can do that on my laptop. So let me just check quickly that we are here. Okay, so go home. Oh, what's going on? I just want to be sure that we are live or not. If anyone can confirm via the chat box, if you can see us and hear us clearly, that would be amazing. It's always good to check these things before you start rambling on. So let's check comments. Hello, someone can see us. Great.
Oh, that's
Can you
great.
hear us? Can you see us clearly? Let me know. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes, I can see that we are live. Awesome. Thank you for confirming. It's showing you as Facebook user, so I'm not quite sure who it is. I think usually if you want StreamYard to show your name, you need to accept. There's like a little link up there that once you click on it, it will begin to show your name. So we'll leave that for now. So thank you. I know a number of people are probably at work. We tried to do this during lunchtime. Mm-hmm. But if you are watching the replay, then hope you have fun. And if you are here with us live, please let us know that you're here and that you can see and hear. Now we have lots to cover, so we're going to go right into it. As you know, I am Data Lamure, the founder of Super Working Mom, and this is the group where we hang out and share stuff that can help us maximize our time and manifest our dreams. Super Working Mom Convos is really just an opportunity for us to showcase ordinary women doing extraordinary things. And a super working mom is someone just like you. And our hope is to inspire and motivate you to live a life of purpose, just like the women we bring on and showcase what they're doing. Today, we have an amazing woman with us. Her name is Lara Okpor. She's going to introduce herself, but I'm going to read a part of her bio. And she's going to tell us a lot more about educating our children, especially in this season. I mean, I think it was last week. Oh no, yesterday or 2 days ago. Yesterday, right? Yeah. They're like, we're still on lockdown, man. I'm like, what?
I know.
So it's really good that we're having you on, in this season to help us, because I know a lot of parents are freaking out. A lot of mothers especially are like, what am I going to do? So it's a good thing, we walk in the spirit. So see, already aligned, we already got this up and running. So let me say a quick word of prayer and then we'll dive right into it, okay? So Heavenly Father, we just commit today's session to you and we pray, Lord, that it will be useful, that a lot of moms on here will get the tips they need to educate their children and support their children in this season. I pray for those who will be watching the replay and those who are here with us live, that it will be a great time for all of us. We pray the network, it will be fine. There will be no issues whatsoever. In Jesus' name,
amen. Amen.
Okay, so let me introduce Lara, and then, it's going to be a conversation. I'll ask some questions, and if you have any questions as well, please feel free to use the chat box to ask your questions. So Lara Okpor is an educational consultant. She's a certified reading therapist with over 5 years in child development and education. She co-owns Clarssroom, a first-class private education and complementary tuition provider in the United Kingdom. And I know Lara is going to tell us a bit more about what they do in Clarssroom. She specializes in working with teachers, children, and parents to find innovative, exciting, and sustainable ways to transform teaching and learning. And her area of expertise is online learning, early years reading program, designing state-of-the-art learning experiences for children, professional training, and community building. Lara calls children the future in your home and is very passionate about empowering, growing, and developing children in their cognitive and emotional development, ensuring that they lead and excel in every aspect of their lives. Lara is married to Henry and they are blessed with 2 adorable children. So, Lara, it is a pleasure having you
Thank
here
you.
with us today. Thank you so much. I know you're a very busy woman, so I am glad that you've taken time to come hang out with us today. So, I have shared a bit of your bio, but we want to hear in your own words, who is Lara? Tell us a bit more about you and what you do.
Well, thank you so much, Detola. It's such a great privilege to come and talk with us and have a conversation with us, especially in this group that I'm a member of. And it's been a great journey with yourself and Super Working Mom. And I remember my kids always say, Super Working Mom, right? Super Working Mom. So yes, it's a great privilege to be here, be able to share with us a little of what I know. So as Data has said a lot, and I'm listening to it, I said, okay. But yes, I'm Lara Okpor. I'm a mother of 2 wonderful, beautiful children given to me by God, and very thankful for them. Married to Ifeanyi. He told me to tell you, Ifeanyi.
When I saw Harry, I'm like, who's Harry?
For the last, going to be 14 years actually this year. So we're thankful for that. And usually I like to talk about my family first because they are my inspiration, and especially my son, because he started the journey into child education for me. So yes, Dito has said a bit of what I do. I'm an education consultant, a reading therapist as well, and a proprietor for Clarssroom. Clarssroom is an education setting, a tuition provider, and we provide services in reading, maths, English, entrance exam preparation from 5+, 7+, 11+, and for children who want to do entrance exams into selective schools. The aim of Clarssroom is to inspire confidence in children, to make sure that they're equipped and they're competent in key academic skills, and as well as we build their confidence in the process, because that's important for me. A child can know maths, can know English, and what if they're not confident? What do we do about it? It won't shine through. So for myself and my husband, building confidence in children, it's really something we want to inspire through our setting, Clarssroom.
Wow, awesome. That is just amazing. And I'm sure already people are like, where have you been all my life? I need you right now, right? So before we even dive into how we can support our children and educate our children, let's take a step back. And I want you to share with us your journey. I know you mentioned that your son was part of this. So share with us your journey of recognizing your calling as an educator. Because I know in your past life, you're an HR consultant, isn't it?
Yes.
Or you work in HR, yes. So what was the whole journey for you transiting into an educator? What were some of the struggles you faced along the way? How did you know for sure that this is what I'm meant to be doing? How were you able to embrace it? I know I've asked a lot of questions, but really just share your journey with us.
Okay, great. So I think as the first time mom, with your first child, we call them our guinea pigs, and we try everything for them. So I think with my son, Emeka, did everything. He was in nursery. It was doing well, but I think once it got to 3, I wanted a bit more. Of course, I was still working in retail as HR consultant. It was quite busy, and as we all know, struggle with getting on the train, driving, coming back home to make sure that you pick your child from nursery on time before they call social services. So all of that kept playing on my mind, and it's been always something that I've been thinking about. I really need to do something else that frees up my time to spend more time with my son. So I got into, and then I started asking around my friends. Some of them married early, so they had older kids. I started asking them, what do you do with a 3-year-old? That's how I started. And they were just like, you have to, you start with reading. I was like, okay, reading, how do I go about it? So a friend of mine told me about a setting where you can get reading, your child can be taught how to read. And that's how I started the journey for the reading program. My son started that setting around 3.5, and the remarkable difference and the change in him, will be on the road, he'll see a bus going, he wants to read what's on the bus. And that practically changed it all for me. And I'm like, if they could give me a tool that was able to help me help my son, I would like to do that for other parents. And that's how the journey started. And I was researching programs that I could get involved with. And then I thought, actually, I love what I did with my son. And I got involved in it. Luckily, doors opened. I started the franchise with myself and my husband. And all the retail experience, the customer service, the HR experience just helped me also start off, have a good start, because from recruiting teachers, from training, from building and starting a business from scratch, I've done that in my other careers. And also being a member of Super Working Mom, I had a lot of tools that, tech-wise, Datala, you know that. I can't say
I know,
what.
but they don't know.
I could not, I just do not like anything technology. So Datala really helped me a lot with that. So Super Okay Mom, I joined Mastermind. I was part of a program. I think it was what's it called? Technology, there was a
Digital transformation program.
digital transformation program. And that really opened a lot up for me as well. So that's how the journey started. And Clarssroom started. A lot of children started coming. And the thing about it is, when a child can read, it opens up the world to them. They want to learn. They are inquisitive. Their vocabulary increases. They ask you more questions. They want to know a lot more. And that's how I just thought, look, I really enjoy what I'm doing. I am able to also help a lot of parents to point them into the direction of what they need to do with their child was very fulfilling. And I just knew that this is really what I wanted to do.
Wow, amazing. Were there any challenges along the way? Because sometimes when people hear, this type of story, they're like, oh, everything was smooth sailing and it all went well. But what maybe touch on one or two that you would like to share with us and how you were able to overcome.
So definitely there will be a lot of challenges. It's like it's like even starting a new family, you're just getting a hang of things, or having a new baby, just getting a hang of things. Obviously, I think sometimes the biggest challenge is teachers. as much as you can think, because obviously you also have to recruit. We were it's a weekend school as well, and we also have Monday to Friday jobs. So being able to balance and get the right teachers that have your vision in mind. It's not just about teaching children, but it's also about instilling confidence in them in the process. So that's one of our challenges in recruitment. But also one of my challenges, as I said to you, was converting my business to be a tech business that is able to serve the needs of the customer, make their journey easier, like being able to pay online, as easy as that sounds. As a small business, you might not even know what to do. So, but getting help and asking the right question, finding people that can help you, and made it, and also being part of the mastermind and the supermarket group. I remember Bumi, I'm sure she's forgotten, one of the times I wanted to set up Stripe, I just had to call her, Bumi, how do I go about it? And I remember one of my first online payments that we got, I had to call you that data. It worked, So yeah, definitely there are quite a few challenges around there. But if you surround yourself with the right people, the right resources, the right people that know what they're doing, definitely life becomes easier for you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I like how you said the skills, your HR skills, your corporate skills, you were able to translate them into your business. And that just goes to show that no skill is wasted. So even if you've been in, even if you've been in HR or whatever for the past how many years, those skills are transferable if you open your eyes to see that they are. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so wow. You've shared a lot, but I mean, we are in a pandemic. And just yesterday, there was this announcement that we're still going to be on lockdown, right? And schools are not reopening. So let's talk a bit about how the pandemic has impacted the education of, the educational system and even a child's learning, especially if your child goes to a state school. So how has this pandemic affected the educational system and our children's learning?
So, I mean, the pandemic affected all of us. I mean, who would have thought that there would be a lockdown? I mean, in our 40 plus years, I mean, we never experienced that. So even for us as an educational face-to-face setting, it was a very big root shock last year, March, this time. But we all had to learn quickly. The school system in England is not as advanced as other school system in America, where homeschooling is already in place and they've already embraced online learning. The impact of the pandemic, apart from school closure, which obviously then is a ripple effect in other things, is there's social impact of pandemic. Our children have little or no interaction with their classmates. And as much as they don't only learn from their teacher, they also learn from their mates. In a class where the teacher is asking a question, you raise your hands up, you say something, your classmates say something. That's not there as much as it was before. There's reduced physical activity. Imagine having a boisterous boy at home. You can't go beyond your garden. I mean, you can take a walk, but it's not like where they're in school, where they're running around with their friends. So that we have to take in mind. I mean, I have to think about it. It's also affecting our children in some way. But also for some schools that have not had the opportunity or the technology or even the leadership to think about how we can plan ahead or, translate our face-to-face learning online, the impact is great. And you also mentioned mainstream school compared to independent school. Some independent school already had some of these processes in place even before the pandemic. So their children have already been on Google Meet. They taught a bit of the class. They had a bit of blended lesson. But then now we are in a school closure where our schools are learning a lot. 30 kids in a class even before the pandemic. And now some of the schools have not been able to move online. They're still emailing worksheets. It makes me think, okay, emailing worksheet, who is going to do with that child? How is that child is supposed to go through that worksheet, learn and attain what they're supposed to learn in each year group, each term? So there's also a widening inequality in the society where people that can pay for tuition or extra tuition are being able to pay for it, and there's some people that can't. So the impact on different people at different times. But we have some schools that have risen up to the challenge of setting up online learning, are able to provide live teaching to their children, compared to some schools that are just still emailing out worksheets and expect the child to attain, at the end of the term. And one thing about UK system is they don't repeat a year group. In September, everybody moves on to the next year group, if you've attained or not. So you then wonder, before the pandemic, there was a gap. Now there is a pandemic. Children are not able to have live lesson or face-to-face lesson. How do we then close that gap? So we just have to understand how, if you know that at the moment you're struggling, ask for help. So there are different ways that children can be helped at this time. For example, if you don't have a laptop, the government have made it open up to schools. Ask your school, let them know you don't have a laptop. They are able to provide this for you. And because, if you have 4 kids, for example, you're going to get 4 laptops? No, the children can get that from school, but you have to ask your school, and then they're able to provide it. If you don't ask, you don't get. Don't assume that they think I'm okay. It's an assumption. If you need help, if you need a laptop, because that's, first of all, if they're providing live teaching, you need a laptop to reduce the frustration, because you need your laptop to work. Your child need a laptop, and just to reduce the interruption for yourself and the child, they have a designated device that can be used. So first of all, I would say just ask for help. Ask your school for a laptop, and then I mean, I don't know if Jetta, you want us to talk about how we can help parents at this point during the pandemic, or
No,
we'll come to that.
let's talk about that. Yeah, because I wanted to ask a few more questions,
Sure.
just to build up to that. Yeah, thank you. That was, wow. I mean, just hearing you even makes it more real. And it's like, oh my gosh, And so hearing this, and a child, like a parent who, for example, has 4 children or 3 children or 2, whatever, like me, and then they have a 2-year-old or an under 6 children, and they're like, well, you'll be all right. I can't come and die right now. Let me just sort out this other 2 that are in school. You just keep watching Coco Melon or whatever, obviously. Yeah, I'm exposing myself here. So what do you say to parents like that who are like, they've just relegated the younger ones to one corner? Like, I can't even deal with you right now. I'm thinking that you'll catch up later. What are your thoughts behind that? What should we? I'm sure we need to do something differently.
Yes, I mean, I do understand. I do share the frustration. My kids are a bit older, 7 and almost 11. But if you have a younger one, as I said, there's still things that they also need to learn at every point in their life. So it is hard. It is hard for parents at this point because everything now is on us as parents. They're schooling at home, you have to print it out. You have to make sure they're doing it, So I do understand the fact that you might think, you'll be okay. Yes, they will be okay. However, we have to understand that having given a child a good foundation makes later life easier for them. So for even a child that is 2, there's basic things we can do. Make sure you read to that child, Make sure they're playing with Lego. As little as those things are, you want to engage them as well, because you don't want them to get stuck on the TV and then later on, when you want to do other things, they start making a fuss. I mean, if you can, let them go to nursery where they also learn through play. But I would say for the younger ones, 3 years and above, reading is extremely important. Let them know the sounds the alphabet make. I know we teach them A, B, C, D and all of that. Please don't do that. Children cannot learn with the alphabet. They can only learn with the sounds. They can only learn to read with sounds that the alphabet makes. So, for example, if you say, oh, what is this letter A? You say, what sound does it make? Teach them the sound instead. And you might say, I don't even know it, but you know the word cat. Say k, as easy as that. So you want to make sure that you're introducing a little bit of handwriting. Let them scribble, give them a paper, learn how to trace. You're developing the motor skills. And as they grow into 3, 4, reception 8, even most of the schools right now are not providing tuition or live lesson for reception of year 1 or year 2 children, key stage 1. I don't know why, because there's so much you can do with them online with regards to phonics teaching, because early reading for me makes a massive difference in your child's journey. It makes their brain open up, it exercises their mind, it tickles their mind. They want to learn. They see some words and they're like, Mommy, what's that? They ask you a question. Oh, what does that mean? Because as a child learns how to read, they become independent. They want to pick a book and find out, okay, what is this book saying? They learn a new word. Mommy, what does that mean? So I would not relegate the learning of a young child as much as we are overwhelmed at the moment. Get your older ones to read with them as well.
Yes, I do that.
Thank God, because you have to find ways that work for you. Get your 10-year-old to read, even if it's 7-year-old. They will feel even like a big boy or big girl reading to your 2.5-year-old sister. Because as much as you want them to enjoy reading, because reading helps writing later. It helps everything else. It just opens the world to a child. Vocabulary increases, and as young as 3 plus, they can actually learn to read. It's amazing what these children can do when we give them even 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. It makes massive difference to them. So please don't relegate the younger child. Get the older ones to play with them, read with them. When you can, bedtime story, read to them. Show them colors. Oh, what do you think would happen in this picture? Just show them a picture book. Let's talk through it. And there's so much you can do with that child. Get counters. Count as you say, okay, 5 fingers. I take one away. How many left? So there's a lot you can do through play until you are able to, do a bit more formal 20, 30 minutes with them a day. It makes a big difference.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for that. I think there's a question.
Okay.
It says, I'm not very good with phonics. Oh. So I try to avoid teaching my daughter so that I'm not teaching her the wrong
Nigerian
sounds,
tongue.
my Nigerian tongue. What would you advise? Yeah. I had that issue too, but thankfully my daughter, I don't know how she did, but she taught herself. So it's my son that I kind of had issues with. So yeah, let's hear. What's the answer to that?
Get some help. I would say if you're not able to teach, and because we learn differently when we're growing up, we learn sometimes word recognition. Nobody taught us phonics. We learn how to learn words and all of that. It's different here. And I think learning through phonics helps because it helps their spelling. They're not trying to remember all the words. They can use the sounds to spell. So I would say get help. I mean, our classroom reading program, we teach children from 3+ to read, and trust me, in 12 weeks, a child that did not know the letter or the sounds the alphabet make get to read after 12 weeks. So get a specialist to help you. And then you do what you know how best to do. Then we would, if they do, our setting, we also empower parents to be able to do it because there's no way any school can transform a child without the parents' support. So parents are the legal educational consultant for their children because we can't do it without you. So I would say for if you're not able to help your child, get help, get somebody that is able to do it, because then that burden is taken off you and you just follow their direction and just because you don't want to teach it wrong as well.
Yeah, I quite like that, asking for help. I quite like that. So what do you do when a child does not want to read? Like my son, Chai, you call him, and the thing is he can read, but he doesn't like reading, right? He would run off, scream, and then he'll come back, and then he'll start reading to himself. I'm like, project your voice. So what do you do? I mean, one thing I started doing with him was I got him comic books because he likes comics. So he'll read those ones. So what else? What other suggestions do you have?
There's a lot. You said a fantastic thing there. Find out what your child likes to do or likes to read. So your child likes comic books. So get him comic books to start with, because that it can take up and read, right? Independently. So get him to do that. Also read to him. So if you want him to read a particular book, I know.
But yeah, this isn't about me.
Even my almost 11-year-old wants me to read to him. Reading at night, it's very therapeutic for children, and I find that it helps them sleep better. So even as babies, if you read to a child that is 2 months, you find that they will sleep well. It's even for me, I find it relaxing when I'm reading to them before bedtime. And you say, oh, you're reading to your 10-year-old. I had to, and I'll tell you why. As you said, my son, even though he learned how to read early, he likes David Williams's books. There's some books that I will not get him to read, like the classics. He doesn't like reading. It tells me it's boring. But I knew I had to learn those words and he had to read it. So I ordered them on Amazon. We read 2-3 chapters every night before he goes to bed. His sister can read all his books. That one just picks the books and just read. But for him, I had to do that. And I found out that we look forward to it at night. That 10, 15 minutes, 3 chapters, and then we talk about it. And so you get through more books because I know it takes our time, but we have to help our children. Audiobooks as well. I want them to pick a book and read, but I also want them to assimilate and understand. So if your child does not like it, reading, get some audiobooks, because it's actually the knowledge that we're trying to instill in them, get into their mind. So as you're playing the audiobook, they hear a word that they're not they don't know the meaning. You can pause it and ask, oh, mommy, what does that mean? And so it's about vocabulary building. It's about getting them to know new words. It's about, getting them to know different plot in books, so that when they want to write, they also have that knowledge and that background to use to write, because reading helps writing style, a skill, and also even just making sure that they're able to write what they've read. And reading out loud, I make my kids read out loud when they are reading, because I know that once they hear it, it goes, the understanding, it's better for me. It works. And reading out loud to a child has great benefits as well. So get a book that they're interested in, get something. So for example, in football, get the biography of one of the football players that they like and let them read it. I know that it's not the classic books that we want them to read, or it's not those type of books. You want them to start somewhere. So, and don't just postpone it. My child doesn't like this and then we don't read. No. So start with what they like to do. Dedicate a few minutes, 15 minutes for bedtime to read a book that will get you to where you want them to get to.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you. That is amazing. And Wemi's giving a shout out to Clarssroom. She says, I highly recommend Clarssroom. My 3-year-old daughter used them and their resources, and she could read before she started reception. Wow. That is such an amazing testimonial.
Thank you, Wemi.
Thanks for sharing that, Wemi. Okay, so let's go back to talking about the pandemic and the lockdown. How can parents keep their child or children's learning uninterrupted with or without school closures? What can we be doing to support our children in this time?
So I wrote some things, but I don't want to miss that. So I'm just going to. Okay, so first of all, be involved with your child's learning. You want to know what they're doing at school, because I find that if I'm interested, my kids are interested. If I'm not, they'll show up in class, but their mind is somewhere else, So I would say, be interested, ask questions, even after their school time. Or what did you learn today? Just so they know that mom is going to ask me what I learned today in school. As I said earlier, get help. First of all, if you don't have a laptop, get involved and get the school involved, get them to know that you need a device for your child, so that they can provide you with that. The government have made the provision for our schools to provide laptops to those that are not able to have it, or those that don't have it. I kind of emphasize the value of a structured or private tuition. And the reason I'm saying that is, before the pandemic, children needed tuition. The gap is getting wider. Think about it. A child started reception 2019. By March 2020, there was a lockdown. So they had 6 months of education, and that was it for reception. And most of the schools in reception, they play anyway. Went back to school in September 2020. January 2021, they're at home. They're in year 1. So they moved from reception. They're now in year 1. Tell me, what has that child learned? So I can't rely on the school system to make sure that my child learns everything they're supposed to learn in reading. Not a fault of theirs. Pandemic happened. However, as a parent, you're responsible for your child's efficient education. What does that mean for you? It means education that suits the purpose for your child. So what is my child supposed to learn in reading? In early years. What are they supposed to learn in year 1? Get help. Get somebody that can make sure that your child is on track to attain that curriculum for reception, attain that curriculum for year 1. In a class of 30, the best meaning teacher cannot do it. It's humanly impossible, because you have social disparity. You have children that are from different homes, and their behavioral issues, majority of their time is spent solving problems, making sure the children are quiet. And so get help, get a value tuition that will make sure that your child's learning is uninterrupted. Also, embrace online learning. I know there's a pandemic, we are not used to it, but please don't postpone your child's learning because it's online. Because next, we didn't know that Boris is going to announce that it's no more after term. Earliest now is anytime after March 8th. After March 8th, school will only open for 3 weeks if we do come back, and there's Easter break. So you have to think about it then. If you're not embracing online learning, what is your child going to do within that? Unless you're a very hands-on parent that is tuned on, you know what to do with your child, then fantastic. But if not, get some help. Embrace online learning. Children get tired of it, but you have to encourage them. And we have to do it because COVID just fast-forwarded it for us. eventually there will be blended learning in the future, where children are going face to face and also learning online. But of course, COVID just made it come to us early. So I would say embrace online learning. Have a dedicated study area. My kids right now are in the kitchen and they know that when you wake up in the morning, you get yourself ready, go to the kitchen. Chika has her own table, and Emeka has his own table. And they also have their own dedicated device, because before we were sharing, I couldn't do work and I get frustrated. So to minimize that, it's already difficult. You don't want that. If you don't have a device, get the school to provide you one, and then make sure you have a dedicated study area for your child and for them to learn. Get what you need for them to make sure they're also involved, get them to get their materials ready, their pencil case ready, so they're not standing up and down and interrupting each other. And have a consistent after school structure. My kids know that we don't watch TV during the week, Monday to Friday. It's very intrusive because, one, they live a busy life. They go to school, online school, till 3:30, 4. So anything after that is revise what your teacher has taught you after they've rested, they've had dinner. So they know that they don't even ask, Mommy, can we watch TV? No. Sometimes we do allow, for example, my son is an Arsenal fan. When his dad is watching TV, the match, I do allow him to do it, because you also want to balance it to make sure that they have a bit of time. And we take walks. It helps my fit goals. We take a walk together just so that we have opportunity to talk about it as well. How are you finding it? Share, you want to know how they're also doing, as well as you are doing as well, and take some time to rest. So I would say get some help, talk to parents, other parents. What are you doing? How are you coping? Have a dedicated area, dedicated device, get some help, because that provides consistency for your child.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Get help. That's the overall theme, because you can't do it by yourself. Yeah. Now, I have a few questions coming in. So let me read the first one. Someone says, my daughter's attention span is so short. Oh, yes. She spends 2 minutes on an activity and she's off. What can I do to resolve this?
Okay. Well, it'll be good to know how old that the child is, but irrespective of the age, I use sand timer, because my son had a lot of energy when he was three plus. Imagine he started reading before he started reception. So imagine what we did to get him there. So it was 15 minutes, 10 minutes. We started with a 5 minutes timer, and I just put the sand timer, you put it upside down, and he knows that, oh, Mommy gave me 5 minutes and we're going to practice our sounds. Okay, we write, apart from when he's saying it, then he writes it. We do that 5 minutes. Then as we got better, I got a 10-minute sound timer. We did that. Try not to overload your child with so much at the same time, because they're trying to work out, okay, I'm going to do this first. They're little minds. So if it's maths you want to do with them, do it for a short time, especially for a younger child. Little at a time works better than saying, I want to do 45 minutes with my child sitting down. It's not going to happen. We have to try and see what works for your child. So I always get some timer. Sometimes I get him to hold his hands because I don't want fidgety hands, because it just keeps his mind together, because he's holding his hands and he knows that if he has to write, of course he has to write. But if we're reading, I get him to use his reading finger so that his eyes can follow through what he's reading and is not distracted, because then he's following his hands, his finger, as he's reading. So there's quite a few things, but it would be good to know the age of the child, because then you can know what will work for that particular child.
Okay, so the answer has come back that she's 2 years and 11 months.
Of course. Boy or girl also, but 2 years and 11 months, definitely.
She's a girl. Yeah,
definitely is a girl. Yeah, so definitely a short burst, 5 minutes. Do 5 minutes at a time. As you get better, do 10 minutes. Also, you can start with puzzles. Let's do the puzzles together, because if it's one activity they're trying to do and they're interested in it, or even if they're trying to learn colors or learn numbers, try and make it brief, because she's quite young as well. And you can't expect an attention span of a 7-year-old with a 2.5-year-old or almost 3. So it's a little at a time that will help with your child, and get a stand timer. That helped us, but you could try that as well.
Great, fantastic. Another question. Is too much time on the iPad bad for our kids? My kids love doing things like coding or Scratch on their iPad, but I'm worried that they have already been on the iPad all morning for school. Can it be beneficial?
Ooh, okay. I mean, that's, as I said, every parent knows what they want for their child. So if it's a learning activity that they're doing, you know that if they need to do it at the moment, we've got nothing else except online. So it could be online learning, it could be online coding, as you mentioned. So if they're learning an activity, fine. There's some devices you can use that just reduces the blue light on the screen, just to make sure that the light rays to your child's eye is. My son wears glasses. I make sure he wears this when he's online, because it just helps him. It reduces his headaches, because without it, he's constantly doing and going close to the screen. So for me, it helps him make sure that it doesn't have constant headache. And we reduce screen time during the week. Apart from learning, they don't watch any other screen at the moment, because they're constantly using their laptop or their tablets for online learning. So at the moment, that's what we have, and let the future worry about itself, unless they find out about something with the iPad that affects a child. At the moment, that's what we have, and you can't stop your child's learning because of that at the moment.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Wow, lots more. Another question. What would you say about the sticker or reward systems in getting children and toddlers to stay on activities? Yay or nay? Yeah.
100%. 100%. And they're in a country where that's what they use in school. That's the reward system. I never grew up with sticker. God help you, do your work, you don't do your work. But for him, it does work magic. I'm trying to look for online stickers for our online schools, actually, because at the physical center, we could give online stickers there and there. But it does work magic. A child that refuses to write, just bring out the sticker. God have mercy. That child will do wonders for you. So please, if it works for your child, definitely. For the older ones, it doesn't work. Cool. So I find that we use different things. My daughter, my husband would say, okay, if you participate in class, you do all this, you speak out during the lesson, I can hear you. The end of the week, it could be a trip to McDonald's. It could be a trip to, maybe after we might go somewhere. Whatever works for you as a family. Yeah. It could be, that doll that you want, I'll order it. Find what works for your child, because they need motivation at this time. I need motivation. They need motivation. Yeah. So definitely, please, they're children.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about slightly older kids, right? In the UK again, the Education Secretary, Gavin Wilson, has announced that the GCE and the A-levels pupils would have their grades decided by their teachers, again in the summer.
Yes.
So what's going to happen with the 11 plus? I mean, my daughter basically just did her 11 plus. Phew, thank God she scaled through. So what's going to happen with that? Okay. And how can parents best prepare their children in the midst of the pandemic?
And in the midst of the uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic question, Detola. Because my nephew is also supposed to take his A-levels. So it came out as a very sad news for some, and good news for some. And I will say why. Some children perform better at coursework or during the term than in exam. Yeah. However, nobody knew, again, that this year they were going to do that. So that also takes me back to making sure that our children are prepared for whatever comes. Because it's not, sometimes exam might not be the determining factor, just as it's going to happen with this GCSE and the A-levels. And if a child has not been doing very well in school, eventually for those children, it will affect them in one way unless they make remarkable change in the next 4 months before the assessment is done. So even though I don't currently serve children above 13, I've had parents call me and ask me, I need help and tuition for my year 9, year 10, actually for year 10, because they do GCSE. And it's not too late, but you have to make sure your child is on top of it, making sure that what they're supposed to learn, they're learning at every point in time. For those children sitting GCSE or will not sit GCSE and their teachers. So for them, there will be assessment, there will be coursework, because the teacher will not just wake up in June or May and give them a grade. Now is what they're doing is assessing them as they go. So if your child is behind in any area or particular subject, get a tutor, get tuition, help them if you can yourself. And so that when they turn up for class online and do the coursework that they're handing, it is done to a good standard. They would know if it's a parent that did that coursework for them, and if it's the child, because it comes out anyway. So going back to your question about 11 plus, we never knew that. So this year, independent school exams that were supposed to happen in January, majority was done at home. Who would have thought that you will be, as a parent, we will be our own invigilator for our kids, But those schools had to really come up with a solution, because one, they are selective schools. You can't just go in without writing exams. They have to keep the academic standard. So exams has to be taken. But they had to find another way of doing that. So in my opinion, I believe 11 plus will carry on, especially for grammar schools and selective independent school, because they are selective schools. That is their entry criteria. It might come up in a different way. They might be through online. The school boards are very creative. They will find a way to make sure that the children will be assessed. Slightly different for GCSE and older kids, because it's just slightly different. But for those selective schools, it will happen in one way or the other. Could be done online, but I mean, last year grammar school had it. This year, independent school had it, but the children did it at home. So there will always be a way. But I would say you cannot stop your child's learning because you don't know if it's going to be postponed. You want your child to be ready, whatever decision they make. I don't believe that the selective schools will be cancelled, because it's a selection criteria. There are mainstream schools the child can go to without selection. And I've heard in Northern Ireland as well, for they do their 11 plus slightly different. Some of the schools have had to change the time they've done it, but it is selective. You have to still sit the exam, but maybe the way you sit the exam might be different. So don't postpone what your child is supposed to learn. Don't defer their learning, because you never know. You want your child to be ready, whatever the decision is made. Made.
Wow, amazing. I found it a bit odd or weird that, some schools decided for the kids to do the exam at home. I'm like, ooh, that's a test of character, a test of integrity for the parents and even for the kids.
They put, my son did it.
Okay.
They put him on Zoom. They were watching everything he was doing.
Oh, that's good.
He couldn't stand up. So once he finished, we had to email. I was going to say fax. There's nothing like fax. We had to scan the paper right there and there. So they gave us 10 minutes to scan the paper to them.
Right.
So your hand is not moving. You cannot change anything. So definitely, it's also a test of character. And for you as a Christian, you want to make sure it's a life skill you're instilling in your child. You're not going to cheat, because that child is watching you as well. So
exactly.
They put in a lot of things in place. You had to sit in. They could see you as well. So there was no way you could do anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
really good. Because a friend of mine, another lady in the Super Mom Academy, they actually send the papers 2 days before. I'm like, this school, they sent it 2 days before, give them a time. I'm like, but as a parent, you might be tempted to let's look at it quickly. So I quite like the fact that your school did the Zoom thing. So that makes absolute more sense.
For us as well, we had to open the envelope right there. So they had to see the seal. So if you had broken the seal, definitely your child is disqualified.
Wow. Wow, that's a good point. That is a good point. Okay, great. We have about 10 more minutes. If you have any questions, bring them in. This has been, wow, I'm learning so much. This is a question I was going to ask you, but someone else has asked as well. So what practical advice do you have for parents that don't have that natural ability to teach? They are overwhelmed. They're like, Lara, sounds fantastic, but I do not have the patience. You're asking your child what is 2 times 4, and he's telling you 6. And you're like, how? How is 2 times? And you're like, why are you not listening? So yes, great parents, but that patience is not, and I fall into this category. So what do? We don't want to be stressed out. We don't want the kids to be stressed out. We want the learning to continue. So yeah, what practical advice would you give to parents like myself?
Rachel, I mean, I would always say get some help.
Yeah.
Get some help. I mean, when we were growing up, I can't remember my dad or my mom sitting down with me at all.
We had lesson teachers, wasn't it? All the Ghanaian teachers.
We did. Exactly. So after school, we went to lesson for 3-4 hours, and then we came back home. And they didn't even, I don't know, I can't blame them for it, because I didn't even miss it. They didn't even ask you, apart from if the lesson teacher tells them that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then they deal with that. But it was kind of, they got help. So please, if you are struggling, it's very difficult to teach your own child, because emotions are in the way, and you're wondering, you don't know this, So I would say get some help. Of course, with their own work, a few times they will need clarification. But if at least the basic knowledge is there, they would have a go first and only come to you when they need help. That's why I said start early, have a routine, so that your child knows and has become an independent learner. They are able to have a go first, and then when they need you to come. But if definitely we are parents and we're juggling being the driver, the cook, the cleaner, and everything, please do get some help. Even if it's an hour a subject a week, goes a long way. And all you have to do is help them maybe with those 1 or 2 pages of homework. But that basic knowledge and skill is there. But yeah, get some help, because you also want to make sure that your relationship with your child is intact and you're not falling out. So please do get some help. I would suggest.
Awesome. So yes, I like that you've told us to get help. How can, let's go straight to the point. How can Clarssroom help us? How can Clarssroom help us? Because I know, you have the physical setting, but assuming we're in a pandemic, we're on lockdown. So how can you help us online? Even can you help other parents in different countries? So tell us how you can help us. How can we reach out to you? What do we need to do?
So Clarssroom, we run Saturday classes online. At the moment, all our classes are online. So, we love seeing the children, but obviously we have to make sure they're safe at the same time. So we are having our classes online. We do teach children from 3.5 online, trust me, online, reading, maths, English, up to age 13. For the younger ones, we teach them how to read. We send you all the materials you need, because I still think that a child needs to carry on writing. As much as we know we do everything typing, that child has to develop that handwriting skill. So we still encourage you to use a book. So we post that materials to you so that the child can carry on developing their writing skill. So we do have online lessons on Saturdays. 9 to 10:35 for read and English, and we also do maths from 10:55 to 12:30. So and also for parents that just want bespoke one-on-one tutoring for their child, we accommodate that during the week or when convenient for you. So our children learn Monday to Saturday. We try to rest Sunday, but obviously we still have some people that do get teaching done on Sunday. So Clarssroom, my email address is info@Clarssroom. So I'm going to spell it because it's a unique name.
It is, and I quite like it.
Clarss room, Clarssroom. So Clarssroom. So www.clarssroom, Clarssroom. So we just.
So wait, let me get that right again. So because I want to type it up for. So it's CLA.
Correct.
R. Double S.
Room.
Room. Awesome.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll put that
So
up.
yeah, we're available. Our Instagram handle is at Clarssroom. Same spelling, CLARSSROOM. Info@clarssroom.co.uk. I think we have also a mobile number. 0203. Sorry, a land phone. Sorry,
a land phone. 0203
991
991. Yeah.
6110.
6110. Oh, it's saying that I don't think that website is correct. It's saying 403 forbidden. We need to check that out.
So CLARSSROOM.co.uk.
Clarssroom.co.uk.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, we put .com. Okay, we'll change that. Yeah, Ola, please, can you put it so it's .co.uk, not .com? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and then the number you said was 0203
991.
Yeah.
6110.
Okay, Ola's got it. Awesome. Thank you so much. Great. So you go check it out. I was going to ask a question. Do you support children with special needs?
We do, but we try to make that a bespoke service, which is one-on-one. At the center, depending on what the area of challenges, we can accommodate them in class, but to make it effective for them, we do one-to-one, because then they learn at a different pace, or some children are very quick. Once they get it, they just move on to something else. So so we do support children with learning difficulties as well.
Okay, great. I think so. The other question about parents who are not natural teachers, there's a follow-up question to that. So it says, so this is asking specifically about homeschooling as it is right now. We already have help in terms of private tuition, but the work from school for my year 2 is a lot. 8 pieces of work daily and homework is stressing us out. So how can this parent support their child with the actual remote learning? Yeah.
So first of all, are they having life lesson? So it depends. If it's just worksheets that is being sent, I will manage the expectation of the school if I'm working, to let them know we will send it, but it might just be late, because you have to understand that you also have to work and you also have to look after yourself. So if they're sending 8 worksheets and they're not teaching it, because when they're teaching, it takes the pressure off you, and the child can follow while they're learning. So I made it clear to my kids, you do your work while your teacher is speaking to you, not wait till we finish school and then you think mommy will sit down. No, because you have the opportunity, there's live teaching, take advantage of it. So if there's no live teaching, you have to manage the school expectation. I'm working, we'll try as much as possible to do this, because what do they expect you to do? You can't do 8 different worksheets, and you have to also be in your own meeting and do what you have to do. So you have to manage your school expectation, and also try and let your child attempt what they can do without you, and then you support them after, just to make sure that if they stopped on number 4, didn't you understand it? Let's go through it. But at least you also make sure your child is having a go, and just waiting for you to finish work and do everything.
Wow, awesome. And it's interesting, you might be surprised. So in my case, when the school called, it's so funny. We were right in the middle of do your work. No, I don't want to do my work. And his teacher called, and I'm like, we're not copying. We are not copying at all. Yeah. And then he called back later, and apparently, I think they had some spaces in school, and they were like, do I want him to come into school? I said, yes, please. So they might have space. I mean, reach out to the school, tell them you're struggling. And who knows, it's possible that some key workers are not taking their kids in.
Even few days.
Yeah. And the space is there, so they might be able to take them in. So we can do that. Lots more shout out for Clarssroom. Someone says Clarssroom helped my child with 11 plus and is now in year 8. Highly recommended. I think this is from Tammy Kuku. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Someone says most schools are very supportive with their struggles.
Yeah.
Okay, so another person says live classes start from 3 days this week for 3 hours. Really appreciate the advice. I've not considered talking to the school. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing we do a lot. We smile and suffer, like we'll be fine, we'll be fine. But when we're struggling, it's funny, if his teacher hadn't called at the point where we were actually struggling.
Yeah.
I might have said, "Oh, it's okay, we are all right," but we were, I'm like, "No, we are not all right. Help!" So yes, this has been insightful.
Oh,
Again, when he says, "Yeah, yes, Lara rocks. Can't recommend her services enough. My 9-year-old son has been with them since reception. Now in year 5 for both maths and English. Amazing, amazing." So Lara, I know we had a conversation about like an offer for super working moms. Is that still on? Yes.
Of course. Yes. So in our classroom's contribution, any child that enrolls up to the 11th of February, we will give 7.5% discount per subject. I mean, inclusive of all the other discounts we have, like sibling discount, but at least a super working mom 7.5% discount. Just quote SWM 75% and obviously 7.5.
So give us the code again. Ola, note that down so we can.
So that's SWM 75.
Okay.
Yeah. And we will honor that up to the 11th of February, definitely.
Yay! Drum roll. Thank you. Yes, and that's why I love what we do. We have that spirit of generosity in the Super Working Mom Academy, which you're a part of. We love to give, and so definitely, if you check it out, and we've got a number of recommendations here, and I'm sure that this is going to be a great change for you as a parent and also for your children as well. So Lara, it's been a pleasure having you. You've given us your contact details. Thank you for that. And before you share any last words, I just wanted to give a shout out again to you. Again, Lara has walked us through some of the things she has been doing and how she's supporting children, especially in this pandemic. I mean, obviously before and now, we need your help more, much more now than ever. And again, if you've read the Slayed Out book, you will remember that in the book we talked about the different mountains of influence. So clearly, Lara is sitting firmly and dominating the education mountain. So my challenge to you out there is, what mountain are you dominating? What mountain are you bringing, what mountain are you influencing? How are you making a difference? Okay, so this, we sharing what others are doing is also to motivate and inspire you to find out what your mountain is and dominate in that area. Again, we can support you in the Super Working Mom Academy. Ola can put up the details. I think we're closed currently. We'll be opening up the doors soon, but check it out. And if you actually do want to join us now, then send us a message, right? Because we don't want, again, to postpone your growth because there's a pandemic, and it'll be good to have you on board. So again, Lara, thank you so much. Any last words before we close off? We've run over slightly, but we're going to wrap up in about 2-3 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Detola. I do enjoy what I'm doing, to be sincere with you. And I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to share with Super Working Mom mothers. I've had mothers from Super Working Mom that have been our clients and are still our clients. So thank you for that opportunity. And I've learned as a person, my business has grown from some of the skills I've learned from the mastermind, some of your programs. So my last few words to parents, please embrace online learning. It's at the moment, that's what we have, and we don't want to postpone. And I keep using that word, don't postpone your child's learning because of this. Have a dedicated device, work with your school teachers, work with them, let them know it's not a problem to be frustrated about anything. Talk to them, ask for help. Get help. We'll be happy to help if you want Clarssroom to support your child and yourself. Engage your children, talk to them, find out, take some walk, take time to have fun as a family, and please be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself, because there's a lot we are doing as parents at this time, and there's a lot of change at the moment. So please be kind to yourself. Take your rest, have a lie-in with your child in bed and just have fun. And yes, thank you, Detola.
Thank you so much. This has been useful. I would encourage you to watch the replay because Lara shared so many nuggets. This is also going to be up on our YouTube channel, and share with everyone. Obviously, if someone is not in this group, they won't be able to see this. So we're going to put it up on YouTube. We'll let you know when we do, and that way you can spread this message of hope to other parents, because we need all the help that we can get. So till next time, when SWM Convos will be back, take care of yourself, stay safe, wash your hands, still keep washing your hands. Don't just stay safe, stay productive as well. Don't postpone your own growth. Don't postpone your own learning as well. Okay, so we're going to wrap up now. Thank you so much, everyone. And again, thank you, Lara. God bless. Yeah, there's lots of shouts. Everyone's saying thank you. This has been a great session. Food for thought. So yeah, thank you. God bless you, and see you next time. Bye.
All right, cheers.